Have you ever wondered why some people seem calm no matter what happens? Why some hearts are able to remain peaceful even when storms rage around them? Could there be a secret to having a peaceful heart? This is Willowbrook, a village like many others, filled with ordinary people living ordinary lives. And yet, hidden among these narrow lanes and simple homes is someone who has discovered an extraordinary secret, the secret to a heart that stays calm in the midst of any storm. This is Elder John in Willowbrook. Everyone simply calls him John Grandfather out of respect and affection. For as long as anyone can remember, John has been the steady heart of this community. He is the one people turn to when troubles arise. He is the one who listens without judgment and speaks with a wisdom that eases even the heaviest burdens. Chun's garden is more than a place where plants grow. It is a sanctuary where stories are shared, tears are dried and hearts are mended. To the people of Willowbrook, John seems unshakable. They have seen him face drought and flood, feast and famine, and yet his smile never fades. Many have wondered, what is Chun's? How does he keep his heart so peaceful? Far from Willowbrook, over mountains and through valleys, there lived a man named Kai. Kai came from a bustling city where noise was constant and expectations were high. For years he had chased success, studying long hours, working tirelessly, and competing with colleagues. Outwardly, he seemed to have everything: a good job, a comfortable home, friends, but inside he felt restless. Even when he achieved his goals, the satisfaction quickly faded and a new anxiety took its place. The voices of worry in his mind grew louder. He found himself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, his heart racing. He began to wonder whether this was all life could offer. One evening, Kai visited his favorite tea house, hoping a warm drink might calm his racing thoughts. He sat at a low table, swirling the amber liquid in his cup. At the next table, two older travelers were swapping stories of the places they'd been. One man mentioned a small village in a green valley, where a certain Elder John had a heart as calm as still water. "They say nothing rattles him," the man said, lifting his teacup. "People travel for days just to sit in his garden and listen to him speak. They leave feeling lighter, as if they've set down a burden they didn't know they were carrying." Kai's ears perked up. A place where burdens could be set down. A person whose heart remained peaceful no matter what. That night, as Kai lay awake again, he decided he would go in search of Elder John. Perhaps this elder held the secret Kai had been missing. The next morning, Kai packed a small bag with a few changes of clothes, some rice cakes and dried fruit, and enough water to last him a few days. He left a note for his family, explaining that he needed time away to find something his soul was seeking. Then he set off on foot, heading towards the mountains. Kai's journey took longer than he expected. The paths were winding and sometimes steep. On the second day, rain fell hard, turning the trail into mud and soaking him to the skin. On the third day, the sun blazed and the air hung heavy and still. Each night, he camped under trees, listening to the hoot of owls and the chirping of insects. At times, the weight of his pack dug into his shoulders, and doubt crept in. "What am I doing?" he asked himself. "How can a stranger help me? Should I turn back?" But each time the doubt rose, he remembered the story he had overheard, the story of a man whose heart could withstand storms. With that image in his mind, he kept walking.
After nearly a week, Kai descended from the mountains and saw Willowbrook's valley spread out below him. He followed the scent of wood smoke and the sound of laughter until he reached the village square. The villagers glanced at him curiously but smiled and nodded as he passed. He approached a group of women washing clothes by a well and asked in a polite tone, "Excuse me, can you tell me where I might find Elder John?" The women looked up from their work and, as if by unspoken agreement, they all pointed towards the edge of the village. Kai followed their gestures until he saw the cottage with the overflowing garden. Just as he stepped through the wooden gate, John looked up from his watering, meeting Kai's gaze with calm, clear eyes. For a moment Kai forgot the speech he had rehearsed on the way. Instead, he blurted out, "Elder John, I have come a long way to find you. Please, will you tell me how you keep your heart peaceful? I am tired of the storms in my mind. I am tired of carrying this weight." John smiled gently, set down his watering can and wiped his hands on a cloth. "Welcome, traveler," he said, his voice warm and steady. "I am John. You must be tired. Please, sit." He gestured to a wooden bench under the shade of a large peach tree. Kai sat down, shifting his heavy pack off his shoulders with a sigh of relief. Jun disappeared into his cottage and returned with 2 cups of steaming jasmine tea. He handed one to Kai and took the other for himself. They sat in silence for a while, watching the bees buzz from flower to flower. The conversation begins, why peace matters. It takes courage to admit you are struggling, he said. So many people continue to run, hoping their unrest will simply disappear. Tell me, what brings you the most sorrow? Kai thought for a moment. I have achieved many of the things I thought would make me happy, he began slowly. Yet my mind is never at rest. When I finish one task, another appears, and the momentary joy fades quickly. I worry about my family, my career, the future. I replay past mistakes and imagine future disasters. The thoughts never stop. Even when I close my eyes at night, it feels like a storm rages inside my chest. Jun nodded. You are describing the nature of a restless heart, he said. Many people believe that if they can only control everything outside of themselves, money, status, other people, then they will find peace. But the world is vast and unpredictable. No one can control it all, so they chase one thing after another, never realizing that the roots of their unrest lie within. Kai frowned. But if peace comes from within, why do I feel so little control over my mind? He asked. It feels like my thoughts have a life of their own. Jun chuckled softly. The mind is like a restless monkey, he replied, always jumping from branch to branch. But just as a monkey can be trained, so can our minds. And just as muscles grow stronger with use, so does the heart grow more peaceful through practice. Would you like to hear how I learned this? Kai nodded eagerly. Please, he said. That's why I came. Jun set his teacup down and took a deep breath, as if pulling the memory from deep within his chest. Many years ago, he began, I was not the old man you see before you. I was a young husband and father with a little farm at the edge of the village. I cared deeply for my family and worked hard to provide for them. I also had something very valuable, a precious stone that had been passed down through my family for generations. It was said to be worth more than anything else we owned. I kept it hidden, wrapped in cloth, in a box beneath my bed. I believed that stone would keep us safe, because if we ever fell on hard times, I could sell it, and we would survive. His eyes drifted to the horizon for a moment before returning to Kai. One summer, when the crops were nearly ready for harvest, a group of bandits descended upon our village. They rode in on horseback, their faces covered, their voices rough. They demanded food, clothes, money, anything of value. When they came to my house, they pushed aside my wife and son and overturned furniture. Then one of them found my box. He opened it, saw the precious stone and grinned. Give me this, he ordered. My first instinct was to protect it. My heart pounded. I felt anger and fear rise up. Jun paused, then continued. In that moment, I saw something in the bandit's eyes, a desperate hunger, not just for wealth but for something deeper. I realized that if I tried to fight him, he would take more than the stone. He might harm my family. So, I took a deep breath and let go. I placed the stone in his outstretched hand. He looked confused for a moment, as if he couldn't believe I would give it up so easily. Then he laughed, stuffed it into his pocket, and ran off. When the bandits were gone, the villagers emerged from their hiding places. They wailed over their losses. Some looked at me and shook their heads, wondering why I hadn't fought for my treasure. But I felt strangely calm. I realized that my attachment to that stone had been a burden I carried. For years, I was always afraid someone would steal it. I was always thinking about it, worrying about its safety. Once it was gone, a weight lifted. I saw clearly that my most valuable treasure was not the stone but my family's safety and my own peace of them. Kai leaned forward. But what happened to the bandit? He asked. Jun smiled. That is the interesting part, he said. Several weeks later, I was working in my field when I saw a young man walking towards me. At first I did not recognize him. His clothes were tattered, his hair was tangled, and his eyes looked tired. As he drew closer, I realized he was one of the bandits. He held out his hand. In it was my family's precious stone. I have had no peace since the day I took this, he said. I dreamed of your face every night. I realized I hadn't taken just a gem. I had taken the calm from your heart, but when you gave it to me freely, you taught me something. I want to learn how to be like you. He placed the stone in my hand and bowed his head. I could have taken the stone and sent him away, but I saw in his eyes the same hunger for peace that you have. So, I invited him to share a meal. He stayed with my family for many weeks. He learned to plow the fields, to read to my children, to listen to the birds. He never returned to his old life. Later, he became a woodcarver and made beautiful bowls and spoons that people still use today. We never spoke of the stone again. In fact, I gave it away soon after to a widow with 3 children who needed money for medicine. I realized that the stone was only a tool for providing comfort. When I was willing to let it go, I found a comfort that no jewel could buy. He had never heard a story like this. He tried to imagine giving away something so valuable without fighting to keep it. Weren't you angry? He finally asked. Didn't you feel wronged? Jun shrugged slightly. Of course I felt anger rising. He said, I'm human. But I also saw how that anger could poison me. If I let that anger control me, I might have fought and lost far more. I might have harmed another person or been harmed myself. I realized that sometimes letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength and clarity. Letting go saved my family and freed my heart from constant fear. Kai absorbing the lesson, Jun's story reminded him of something he once read about the value of giving and receiving pieces of one's heart.
After a pause, Jun took another sip of tea and continued. May I tell you another story? He asked. This one is not mine originally, but it has guided me for years. Kai nodded eagerly. Please do, he said. In a town far away, Jun began, a young man stood in the market square proclaiming that he had the most perfect heart in the world. He showed it to the people. It was smooth, unblemished, without scars. The crowd ooped and awed. Look, he said, there's not a single mark on it. Surely no one has a more beautiful heart than mine. The people clapped and praised him. Then an old man stepped forward from the crowd. He opened his shirt and showed his heart. It was strong and beating, but it was covered in scars. Pieces were missing, and other pieces had been placed into the empty spaces, but they did not fit perfectly. There were rough edges, jagged tears, and deep gouges. The young man laughed. How can you compare your heart with mine? He asked. Mine is perfect. Yours looks like a patchwork quilt. Yes, said the old man. Jin continued. Your heart is perfectly smooth and untouched. But I would not trade with you. Every scar on my heart represents a person to whom I have given love. Sometimes they gave me a piece of their heart in return. Because our pieces are not perfect, the edges are rough and some places bleed. Sometimes I offered love and received nothing back, leaving a gouge. But even those empty spaces remind me that I loved and that I am alive. You may have a perfect heart, said the old man, but it is unused. Mine may be scarred, but it is rich with the lives I've touched. Kai listened, tears pricking his eyes. He imagined the old man's scarred heart and the young man's smooth one. He thought of his own heart, of the times he had guarded it so fiercely that he missed opportunities to connect with others. He thought of times he had withheld forgiveness, leaving jagged edges inside himself. The story resonated deeply. Jun leaned closer. The old man's heart is at peace because he allowed himself to love and be loved even when it meant hurt sometimes, he said. He did not worry about keeping his heart unblemished. He worried about keeping it alive. When I heard that story, I realized that a peaceful heart is not a heart untouched by life. It is a heart that has been softened and made wise by experiences of giving and receiving. Kai sat in thoughtful silence. Around them, the garden buzzed with life. Bees hopped from bloom to bloom, a dragonfly skimmed the surface of a small pond, and a breeze made the peach blossoms rustle like whispers. Jun waited patiently. After a while, Kai looked up. What do I do now? He asked. I cannot undo the years of worrying or the scars I carry. How do I start making my heart peaceful? Jun smiled. Peace is not a switch you can flip, he said. It is a practice like tending a garden. You must plant seeds and care for them every day. Sometimes storms will come and flatten your plants. Sometimes weeds will sprout. If you walk away because of one storm, you will never harvest anything. But if you return day after day pulling weeds, watering, protecting the plants, you will watch small shoots become strong trees. He stood up and beckoned Kai to follow. Together they walked to a row of lettuce seedlings. These were tiny seeds just a few weeks ago, June said, crouching down. Now they have leaves because I tended them daily, practicing pieces like this. There are many seeds you can plant. One seed is mindfulness, learning to watch your thoughts without reacting to them. Another seed is gratitude, deliberately noticing the good that already exists. Another is compassion, choosing to respond to yourself and others with kindness rather than judgment. June handed Kai a small trowel. "Help me plant these carrot seeds," he said. As they worked side by side, June spoke about practical ways to cultivate peace. He taught Kai a simple breathing technique. When anxious thoughts arise, breathe slowly in and out, noticing the sensation of the air entering and leaving the body. He showed Kai how to perform a small act of kindness every day without expecting anything in return. They prepared food together and delivered it to an elderly neighbor. They listened to the birds at dawn and watched the sunset in silence. With each activity, June emphasized paying full attention to the present moment, letting go of the urge to rush or to multitask. Some days, Kai would feel restless and ask questions. "What if someone wrongs me?" He asked. "Should I simply let it go?" June shook his head. "Letting go does not mean you allow others to harm you," he said. "If someone hurts you, you can protect yourself. But holding on to anger is like holding a burning coal and hoping to throw it at your enemy. You are the one who gets burned. Forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace." Forgiving frees your heart from being tied to the past. Other times, Kai would feel guilty about mistakes he had made. "I regret things I said and did," he whispered one evening as they watched fireflies. June nodded. "Regret is the mind's way of wishing the past were different," he said. "You cannot change the past, but you can learn from it. Think of your regrets as teachers. Let them show you how to act differently next time. When the lesson is learned, let the regret go. Carry only the wisdom forward, not the weight." Weeks turned into months. Kai felt the muscles in his arms grow stronger from working in the garden. More importantly, he felt something shift inside. He began to notice the pattern of his thoughts. How worry would start with a small "what if" and spiral into disaster scenarios. When that happened, he would pause, breathe, and bring his attention back to the present. He practiced gratitude by listing 3 things he appreciated each evening, sometimes the smile of a child, sometimes a warm meal, sometimes the feel of earth between his fingers. He extended kindness by repairing a neighbor's fence without being asked and by listening patiently when a villager complained about a disagreement. He forgave someone who had once mocked him by sending them a basket of fresh tomatoes. Each act was like pulling a weed or watering a plant. Slowly, his heart felt less stormy.